Okay. We can get started, right? So welcome everybody to today's session 3 of this 2024 version of Gita online Gita Parayan. As we have discussed in last sessions, we have switched away from the physical session to the online session, online Parayan from this year, as was our system, which we had for the past 3 years during the COVID times, because it enables a lot of people to join from different places. So that is a lot more easier to join through Zoom. And today we have, this time we are covering the whole Bhagavad Gita in 9 sessions. And we are also having another constraint that every session we will have a complete either 1 or 2 chapters of the Bhagavad Gita. So since the Gita has got different chapter lengths, so some chapters are very small, some of them are very long. Like some of them are like 20 verses, and some of them are like 78 verses. So it becomes, the number of verses to be chanted in each session will be quite significantly different. And today we have chapter 3 and chapter 4 to be chanted. So that's about 85 verses. I will request all our lead chanters to go a bit faster than usual. So without much ado, let us get started. Okay. Meanwhile, I will just disable people from disturbing us. Yeah. Now only co-hosts can actually unmute themselves. All others cannot unmute. The people can actually talk after the Q&A is over. I mean, during the Q&A, people can ask questions. We'll enable people to unmute themselves. So let's get started with the invocation. Today's invocation will be chanted by Padmini-ji. And today's our guest of honor for today is Mr. Sangutuanji, Chairman of HAB. So he will give his brief opening address just after the invocations. Over to Padmini-ji.
Om. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shuklam Bharadharam Vishnum Shashivarnam Chaturbhujam Prasannavadanam Dhyayet Sarva Vighnopashantaye. Saraswati Namastubhyam Varade Kamarupini Vidyarambham Karishyami Siddhir Bhavatu Me Sada. Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gururdevo Maheshwarah Guru Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Jnananandamayam Devam Nirmalam Sphatikakritim Adharam Sarva Vidyanam Hayagrivam Upasmahe. Sarva Mangala Mangalye Shive Sarvartha Sadhike Sharanye Trambake Gauri Narayani Namostute. Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsachanura Mardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum.
So we invoke all the gods and the Lord Krishna for the successful completion of this event as well as all other events. So now is the time for welcoming Sri Sengatwanji, Chairman of Hindu Advisory Board. He's a very, very active supporter of all the Hindu causes in Singapore and also a very well-known practitioner of Hinduism, of Sanatana Dharma. So it is our immense pleasure to have Sengatwanji, and he's also a very good intellectual. And I also understand that he's a pilot, and he was piloting the planes today. And now he is successfully piloting Hindu Advisory Board also. So I think let us I'll enable his video. So let me just spotlight Sengatwanji. Okay, what to Sengatwanji? Welcome, welcome, sir. So over to you.
अखण्डमण्डलाकारं व्याप्तं येन चराचरं तत्पदं दर्शितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरु साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। चिन्मयं व्यापि यत्सर्वं त्रैलोक्यं सचराचरं तत्पदं दर्शितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। त्वमेव माता च पिता त्वमेव बन्धुश्च सखा त्वमेव विद्या द्रविणं त्वमेव सर्वं मम देवदेव। Namaste, namaskaram to everyone. It's nice to have this kind of satsang. I'm always pleased whenever I get into this satsang, but I don't need all those accolades like Krishna ji said. I'm just part of you together trying to seek and get some points. The last word of that verse just now from Guru Sutra, Tvameva Sarvam Mamadeva Deva. That Guru is everything, whatever we see, because through that Guru we get the knowledge. And that's exactly how Arjuna finally realized that whatever his melancholic state, whatever his confusion, all that, he suddenly surrendered to that Guru, Sri Bhagavan himself, and started to take everything Bhagavanji was trying to pass. That it is only upon that state, when we are in that Arjuna state, we can get the teachings of the Gita and its essence to us. Gita has been explained in several bhashas, in several genres, by many people in many attempts. I would like to comment and congratulate this group, Gita Jayanti group, for organizing such things and getting people together in any small amount, but getting the energy together so that we can spend some time amongst all our mundane things and sit down together and contemplate for a short while and put ourselves in this Arjuna state and receive these teachings from Bhagavanji. We started the Gita with chapter 1, Krishna Vishada Yoga, where he was in a state of confusion like all of us are. And then we got a gist of the chapter 2 of the whole of Bhagavad Gita. Today, we're going to start off with the first content itself with Karma Yoga, and eventually is going to say the Karma Sannyasi Yoga. These are very beautiful takeaways for us because we are basically in karma most of the time. Now, how do we transform this karma into Karma Yoga? They're two different things. They have to be understood. We all think karma is just plain karma, but Bhagavan explains how karma can be transformed into a Karma Yoga. And this is what we're going to hear today. I'm very happy to be part of this group, to actually listen and be here. And thank you very much for everyone. Hari Om. Namaste.
Thank you so much, Sengatwanji, for those beautiful words and also the invocation of Guru. Like Sengatwanji was saying, very interestingly, the Bhagavad Gita starts with the Arjuna Vishada. The Vishada, the sorrow or the distress of Arjuna, is the starting point of the yoga. Every chapter of the Bhagavad Gita ends with a colophon, Brahma Vidya and Karma Yoga. So the Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastra, Brahma Vidya and Yoga Shastra. So basically, Bhagavad Gita is a Brahma Vidya as well as Yoga Shastra. So every chapter is talking about some kind of yoga. So in the first chapter itself, it starts with Vishada itself becomes a yoga. That means how a Vishada can become a yoga. So that is the idea here. And second chapter is like you said, Sankhya Yoga, which is summary of the Bhagavad Gita. Then third chapter, now what we are going to chant today, third and fourth chapters. Third chapter is about Karma Yoga, and where we talk about how Karma itself can become a yoga. And very curiously, how Karma Yoga, and we also have Karma Jnana Karma Yoga is the next one, and the fourth chapter, and the fifth chapter is called Karma Sannyas Yoga. So both Karma Yoga as well as doing karma as well as non-doing karma, both are yoga. So, so how both can become yoga is the beauty of this Bhagavad Gita, of how these contradictions are actually integrated into a higher level of sort of truth. So that is the whole idea here. So before, without much ado, let's get started with the rest of the proceedings for today. So thank you once again, Sangadwenji, for your wonderful words. And we will get back to our Gita. Now, first what we have is the Gita Dhyanam, invoking the Bhagavad Gita itself. And after that, we will have the actual verses to be chanted for today. So Dhyanam for today will be chanted by Padmaniji again.
Om Shri Paramatmane Namaha. Atha Shrimad Bhagavad Gita Dhyanam. Om Parthaya Pratibodhita Bhagavata Narayanena Swayam Vyasena Gratitam Purana Munina Madhye Mahabharatam Advaitaamritavarshinim Bhagavatim Ashtadashadhyayinim Ambatvamanusandadhami Bhagavad Gita Bhavadveshini. Namostute Vyasa Vishala Buddhe Pullara Vindayata Patra Netra Yena Tvaya Bharata Taila Purnaha Prajwalito Jnanamaya Pradipaha Prapanna Parijataya Totra Vetraika Panaye Jnanamudraya Krishnaya Gita Duhe Namaha Sarvopanishado Gavaha Dogdha Gopala Nandanaha Partho Vatsa Sudhir Bhokta Dugdham Gitamritam Mahat Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsa Chanura Mardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum Bhishma Drona Tata Jayadratha Jala Gandhara Nilotpala Shalyagrahavati Kripena Vahani Karnena Velakula Ashwathama Vikarna Ghora Makara Duryodhana Vartini Sotirna Khalu Pandavairana Nadi Kaivartakah Keshavaha Parasharya Vachasaroja Mamalam Gitartha Gandhotkatam Nanakyanaka Kesaram Harikatha Sambodhana Bodhitam Loke Sajjana Shatpadairaharaha Pepiyamanam Muda Bhuyad Bharata Pankajam Kalimala Pradvamsina Shreyase Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langhayate Girim Yatkripa Tamaham Vande Paramananda Madhavam Yam Brahma Varunendra Rudra Marutaha Stunvanti Divyaistavaihi Vedai Sangha Padakramopanishadaihi Gayanti Yam Samagaha Dhyanavasthita Tadgatena Manasa Pashyanti Yam Yoginah Yasyantam na vidussura suragana Devaya tasmai namaha.
Thank you so much, Padmini, for those wonderful chanting of Gita Dhyanam. The Gita Dhyanam itself is not really a part of Bhagavad Gita, but it is an invocation of the Bhagavad Gita, supposedly written by Madhusudana Saraswati. And now we get into today's verses for today. So we have to chant chapter 3 and chapter 4. Chapter 3 has 43 verses and chapter 4 has 42 verses. So totally we have 85 verses to be chanted today. Let us get started with the actual verses. We have chapter 3 is called Karma Yoga and chapter 4 is called Jnana Karma Sannyasa Yoga. Jnana Karma Sannyasa Yoga. That's chapter 4. So first, this chapter 3 will now initially be starting with Padmini and it will be followed by Umaji will repeat the each verse which is chanted by initially by Padmini. Then it goes in a rotation. So that is a practice in our sessions. Okay, Padmini, I think you can start.
अथ तृतीयोऽध्यायः कर्मयोगः। अर्जुन उवाच ज्यायसि चेत् कर्मणस्ते मता बुद्धिर्जनार्दन तत्किं कर्मणि घोरे मां नियोजयसि केशव।
अर्जुन उवाच ज्यायसि चेत् कर्मणस्ते मता बुद्धिर्जनार्दन तत्किं कर्मणि घोरे मां नियोजयसि केशव।
व्यामिश्रेणेव वाक्येन बुद्धिं मोहयसीव मे तदेकं वद निश्चित्य येन श्रेयोऽहमाप्नुयाम्।
व्यामिश्रेणेव वाक्येन बुद्धिं मोहयसीव मे तदेकं वद निश्चित्य येन श्रेयोऽहमाप्नुयाम्।
श्रीभगवानुवाच लोकेऽस्मिन् द्विविधा निष्ठा पुरा प्रोक्ता मया नघ ज्ञानयोगेन साङ्ख्यानां कर्मयोगेन योगिनाम्।
श्रीभगवानुवाच लोकेऽस्मिन् विविधा निष्ठा पुरा प्रोक्ता मया नघ ज्ञानयोगेन साङ्ख्यानां कर्मयोगेन योगिनाम्।
न कर्मणामनारम्भात् नैष्कर्म्यं पुरुषोऽश्नुते न च सन्न्यसनादेव सिद्धिं समधिगच्छति।
न कर्मणामनारम्भात् नैष्कर्म्यं पुरुषोऽश्नुते न च सन्न्यसनादेव सिद्धिं समधिगच्छति।
न हि कश्चित् क्षणमपि जातु तिष्ठत्य कर्मकृत् कार्यते ह्यवशः कर्म सर्वः प्रकृतिजैर्गुणैः।
न हि कश्चित् क्षणमपि जातु तिष्ठत्य कर्मकृत् कार्यते ह्यवशः कर्म सर्वः प्रकृतिजैर्गुणैः।
कर्मेन्द्रियाणि संयम्य य आस्ते मनसा स्मरन् इन्द्रियार्थान् विमूढात्मा मिथ्याचारः स उच्यते।
कर्मेन्द्रियाणि संयम्य य आस्ते मनसा स्मरन् इन्द्रियार्थान् विमूढात्मा मिथ्याचारः स उच्यते।
यस्त्विन्द्रियाणि मनसा नियम्यारभतेऽर्जुन कर्मेन्द्रियैः कर्मयोगम् असक्तः स विशिष्यते।
यस्विन्द्रियाणि मनसा नियम्यारभतेऽर्जुन कर्मेन्द्रियैः कर्मयोगम् असक्तः स विशिष्यते।
नियतं कुरु कर्म त्वं कर्म ज्यायो ह्यकर्मणः शरीरयात्रापि च ते न प्रसिद्ध्येद कर्मणः।
नियतं कुरु कर्म त्वं कर्म ज्यायो ह्यकर्मणः शरीरयात्रापि च ते न प्रसिद्ध्येद कर्मणः।
यज्ञार्थात् कर्मणोऽन्यत्र लोकोऽयं कर्म बन्धनः तदर्थं कर्म कौन्तेय मुक्तसङ्गः समाचर
यज्ञार्थात् कर्मणोऽन्यत्र लोकोऽयं कर्म बन्धनः तदर्थं कर्म कौन्तेय मुक्तसङ्गः समाचर
सह यज्ञाः प्रजा सृष्ट्वा पुरोवाच प्रजापतिः अनेन प्रसविष्यध्वम् एषवोऽस्त्विष्टकामधुक्
सह यज्ञाः प्रजा सृष्ट्वा पुरोवाच प्रजापतिः अनेन प्रसविष्यध्वम् एषवोऽस्त्विष्टकामधुक्
देवान् भावयतानेन ते देवा भावयन्तु वः परस्परं भावयन्तः श्रेयः परमवाप्स्यथ
देवान् भावयतानेन ते देवा भावयन्तु वः परस्परं भावयन्तः श्रेयः परमवाप्स्यथ
इष्टान् भोगान् हि वो देवाः दास्यन्ते यज्ञभाविताः तैर्दत्तानप्रदायैभ्यः यो भुङ्क्तेस्तेन एव सः
इष्टान् भोगान् हि वो देवाः दास्यन्ते यज्ञभाविताः तैर्दत्तानप्रदायैभ्यः यो भुङ्क्तेस्तेन एव सः
यज्ञशिष्टाशिनः सन्तः मुच्यन्ते सर्वकिल्बिषैः भुञ्जते ते त्वघं पापाः ये पचन्त्यात्मकारणात्
यज्ञशिष्टांशिनः सन्तः मुच्यन्ते सर्वकिल्बिषैः भुञ्जते ते द्वघं पापाः ये पचन्त्यात्मकारणात्
अन्नाद्भवन्ति भूतानि पर्जन्यादन्नसम्भवः यज्ञाद्भवति पर्जन्यः यज्ञः कर्मसमुद्भवः
अन्नाद्भवन्ति भूतानि पर्जन्यादन्नसम्भवः यज्ञाद्भवति पर्जन्यः यज्ञः कर्मसमुद्भवः कर्म ब्रह्मोद्भवं विद्धि ब्रह्माक्षरसमुद्भवं तस्मात् सर्वगतं ब्रह्म नित्यं यज्ञे प्रतिष्ठितम्
कर्म ब्रह्मोद्भवं विद्धि ब्रह्माक्षरसमुद्भवं तस्मात् सर्वगतं ब्रह्म नित्यं यज्ञे प्रतिष्ठितम्
एवं प्रवर्तितं चक्रं नानुवर्तयतीह यः अघायुरिन्द्रिया रामः मोघं पार्थ स जीवति
एवं प्रवर्तितं चक्रं नानुवर्तयतीह यः अघायुरिन्द्रिया रामः मोघं पार्थ स जीवति
यस्त्वात्मरतिरेव स्यात् आत्मतृप्तश्च मानवः आत्मन्येव च सन्तुष्टः तस्य कार्यं न विद्यते
यस्त्वात्मरतिरेव स्याद् आत्मतृप्तश्च मानवः आत्मन्येव च सन्तुष्टः तस्य कार्यं न विद्यते
नैव तस्य कृतेनार्थः नाकृतेनेह कश्चन न चास्य सर्वभूतेषु कश्चिदर्थव्यपाश्रयः
नैव तस्य कृतेनार्थः नाकृतेनेह कश्चन न चास्य सर्वभूतेषु कश्चिदर्थव्यपाश्रयः
तस्मादसक्तः सततं कार्यं कर्म समाचर असक्तो ह्याचरन् कर्म परमाप्नोति पूरुषः
तस्मादसक्तः सततं कार्यं कर्म समाचर असक्तो असक्तो ह्याचरन् कर्म परमाप्नोति पूरुषः
कर्मणैव हि संसिद्धिम् आस्थिता जनकादयः लोकसङ्ग्रहमेवापि सम्पश्यन् कर्तुमर्हसि
कर्मणैव हि संसिद्धिम् आस्थिता जनकादयः लोकसङ्ग्रहमेवापि सम्पश्यन् कर्तुमर्हसि
यद्यदाचरति श्रेष्ठः तत्तदेवेतरो जनः स यत्प्रमाणं कुरुते लोकस्तदनुवर्तते
यद्यदाचरति श्रेष्ठः तत्तदेवेतरो जनः स यत्प्रमाणं कुरुते लोकस्तदनुवर्तते
न मे पार्थास्ति कर्तव्यं त्रिषु लोकेषु किञ्चन नानवाप्तमवाप्तव्यं वर्त एव च कर्मणि
न मे पार्थास्ति कर्तव्यं त्रिषु लोकेषु किञ्चन नानवाप्तमवाप्तव्यं वर्त एव च कर्मणि
यदि ह्यहं न वर्तेयं जातु कर्मण्यतन्द्रितः मम वर्त्मानुवर्तन्ते मनुष्याः पार्थ सर्वशः
यदि ह्यहं न वर्तेयं जातु कर्मण्यतन्द्रितः मम वर्त्मानुवर्तन्ते मनुष्याः पार्थ सर्वशः
उत्सीदेयुरिमे लोकाः न कुर्यां कर्म चेदहं शङ्करस्य च कर्ता स्याम् उपहन्यामि माः प्रजाः
उत्सीदेयुरिमे लोकाः न कुर्यां कर्म चेदहं शङ्करस्य च कर्ता स्याम् उपहन्यामि माः प्रजाः
सक्ताः कर्मण्य विद्वांसः यथा कुर्वन्ति भारत कुर्याद् विद्वांस्तथा सक्तः चिकीर्षुर्लोकसङ्ग्रहम्
सक्ताः कर्मण्य विद्वांसः यथा कुर्वन्ति भारत कुर्याद् विद्वांस्तथा सक्तः चिकीर्षुर्लोकसङ्ग्रहम्
न बुद्धिभेदं जनयेत् अज्ञानां कर्मसङ्गिनां जोषयेत् सर्वकर्माणि विद्वान् युक्तः समाचरन्
न बुद्धिभेदं जनयेद् अज्ञानां कर्मसङ्गिनां जोषयेत् सर्वकर्माणि विद्वान् युक्तः समाचरन्
प्रकृतेः क्रियमाणानि गुणैः कर्माणि सर्वशः अहङ्कारविमूढात्मा कर्ताहमिति मन्यते
प्रकृतेः क्रियमाणानि गुणैः कर्माणि सर्वशः अहङ्कारविमूढात्मा कर्ताहमिति मन्यते
तत्त्ववित्तु महाबाहो गुणकर्मविभागयोः गुणागुणेषु वर्तन्ते इति मत्वा न सज्जते
तत्त्ववित्तु महाबाहो गुणकर्मविभागयोः गुणागुणेषु वर्तन्ते इति मत्वा न सज्जते प्रकृतेर्गुणसम्मूढाः सज्जन्ते गुणकर्मसु तान् कृत्स्नविदो मन्दान् कृत्स्नविन्न विचालयेत्
प्रकृतेर्गुणसम्मूढाः सज्जन्ते गुणकर्मसु तान् कृत्स्नविदो मन्दान् कृत्स्नविन्न विचालयेत्
मयि सर्वाणि कर्माणि सन्न्यस्याध्यात्मचेतसा निराशीर्निर्ममो भूत्वा युध्यस्व विगतज्वरः
मयि सर्वाणि कर्माणि सन्न्यस्याध्यात्मचेतसा निराशीर्निर्ममो भूत्वा युध्यस्व विगतज्वरः
ये मे मतमिदं नित्यम् अनुतिष्ठन्ति मानवाः श्रद्धावन्तो न सूयन्तः मुच्यन्ते तेऽपि कर्मभिः
ये मे मतमिदं नित्यम् अनुतिष्ठन्ति मानवाः श्रद्धावन्तो न सूयन्तः मुच्यन्ते तेऽपि कर्मभिः
ये त्वेतदभ्यसूयन्तः नानुतिष्ठन्ति मे मतम् सर्वज्ञानविमूढांस्तान् विद्धि नष्टानचेतसः
ये त्वेतदभ्यसूयन्तः नानुतिष्ठन्ति मे मतम् सर्वज्ञानविमूढांस्तान् विद्धि नष्टानचेतसः
सदृशं चेष्टते स्वस्याः प्रकृतेर्ज्ञानवानपि प्रकृतिं यान्ति भूतानि निग्रहः किं करिष्यसि
सदृशं चेष्टते स्वस्याः प्रकृतिर्ज्ञानवानपि प्रकृतिं यान्ति भूतानि निग्रहः किं करिष्यति
इन्द्रियस्येन्द्रियस्यार्थे रागद्वेषौ व्यवस्थितौ तयोर्न वशमागच्छेत् तौ ह्यस्य परिपन्थिनौ
इन्द्रियस्येन्द्रियस्यार्थे रागद्वेषौ व्यवस्थितौ तयोर्नवशमागच्छेत् तौ ह्यस्य परिपन्थिनौ
श्रेयान् स्वधर्मो विगुणः परधर्मात् स्वनुष्ठितात् स्वधर्मे निधनं श्रेयः परधर्मो भयावहः
श्रेयान् स्वधर्मो विगुणः परधर्मात् स्वनुष्ठितात् स्वधर्मे निधनौ श्रेयः परधर्मो भयावहः
अर्जुन उवाच अथ केन प्रयुक्तोऽयं पापं चरति पूरुषः अनिच्छन्नपि वार्ष्णेय बलादिव नियोजितः
अर्जुन उवाच अथ केन प्रयुक्तोऽयं पापं चरति पूरुषः अनिच्छन्नपि वार्ष्णेय बलादिव नियोजितः
श्रीभगवानुवाच काम एष क्रोध एषः रजोगुणसमुद्भवः महाशनो महापाप्मा विध्येनमिह वैरिणम्
श्रीभगवानुवाच काम एष क्रोध एषः रजोगुणसमुद्भवः महाशनो महापाप्मा विध्येनमिह वैरिणम्
धूमेनाव्रियते वह्निः यथादर्शो मलेन च यथोल्बेनावृतो गर्भः तथा तेनेदमावृतम्
धूमेनाव्रियते वह्निः यथादर्शो मलेन च यथोल्बेनावृतो गर्भः तथा तेनेदमावृतम्
आवृतं ज्ञानमेतेन ज्ञानिनो नित्यवैरिणा कामरूपेण कौन्तेय दुष्पूरेणानलेन च
आवृतं ज्ञानमेतेन ज्ञानिनो नित्यवैरिणा कामरूपेण कौन्तेय दुष्पूरेणानलेन च
इन्द्रियाणि मनो बुद्धिः अस्याधिष्ठानमुच्यते एतैर्विमोहयत्येषः ज्ञानमावृत्य देहिनम्
इन्द्रियाणि मनो बुद्धिः अस्याधिष्ठानमुच्यते एतैर्विमोहयत्येषः ज्ञानमावृत्य देहिनम्
तस्मात् त्वमिन्द्रियाण्यादौ नियम्य भरतर्षभ पाप्मानं प्रजहिष्येनं ज्ञानविज्ञाननाशनम्
तस्मात् त्वमिन्द्रियाण्यादौ नियम्य भरतर्षभ पाप्मानं प्रजहिह्येनं ज्ञानविज्ञाननाशनम्
इन्द्रियाणि पराण्याहुः इन्द्रियेभ्यः परं मनः मनसस्तु परा बुद्धिः यो बुद्धेः परतस्तु सः
इन्द्रियाणि पराण्याहुः इन्द्रियेभ्यः परं मनः मनसस्तु परा बुद्धिः यो बुद्धेः परतस्तु सः
एवं बुद्धेः परं बुद्ध्वा संस्तभ्यात्मानमात्मना जहि शत्रुं महाबाहो कामरूपं दुरासदम्
एवं बुद्धेः परं बुद्ध्वा संस्तभ्यात्मानमात्मना जहि शत्रुं महाबाहो कामरूपं दुरासदम्
ॐ तत्सत् इति श्रीमद्भगवद्गीतासु उपनिषत्सु ब्रह्मविद्यायां योगशास्त्रे श्रीकृष्णार्जुनसंवादे कर्मयोगो नाम तृतीयोऽध्यायः वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनम् देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्
अथ चतुर्थोऽध्यायः ज्ञानकर्मसन्न्यासयोगः श्रीभगवानुवाच इमौ विवस्वते योगं प्रोक्तवानहमव्ययम् विवस्वान्मनवे प्राह मनुरिक्ष्वाकवे ब्रवीत्
श्रीभगवानुवाच इमं विवस्वते योगं प्रोक्तवानहमव्ययम् विवस्वान्मनवे प्राह मनुरिक्ष्वाकवे ब्रवीत्
एवं परम्परा प्राप्तम् इमौ राजर्षयो विदुः सकाले नेह महता योगो नष्टः परन्तप
एवं परम्परा प्राप्तम् इमं राजर्षयो विदुः सकाले नेह महता योगो नष्टः परन्तप
स एवायं मया तेद्य योगः प्रोक्तः पुरातनः भक्तोऽसि मे सखा चेति रहस्यो ह्येतदुत्तमम्
स एवायं मया तेद्य योगः प्रोक्तः पुरातनः भक्तोऽसि मे सखा चेति रहस्यं ह्येतदुत्तमम्
अर्जुन उवाच अपरं भवतो जन्म परं जन्म विवस्वतः कथमेतद्विजानीयाम् त्वमादौ प्रोक्तवानिति
अर्जुन उवाच अपरं भवतो जन्म परं जन्म विवस्वतः कथमेतद्विजानीयाम् त्वमादौ प्रोक्तवानिति
श्रीभगवानुवाच बहूनि मे व्यतीतानि जन्मानि तव चार्जुन तान्यहं वेद सर्वाणि न त्वं वेत्थः परन्तप
श्रीभगवानुवाच बहूनि मे व्यतीतानि जन्मानि तव चार्जुन तान्यहं वेद सर्वाणि न त्वं वेत्थ परन्तप
अजोऽपि सन्नव्ययात्मा भूतानामीश्वरोऽपि सन् प्रकृतिं स्वामधिष्ठाय सम्भवाम्यात्ममायया
अजोऽपि सन्नव्ययात्मा भूतानामीश्वरोऽपि सन् प्रकृतिं स्वामधिष्ठाय सम्भवाम्यात्ममायया
यदा यदा हि धर्मस्य ग्लानिर्भवति भारत अभ्युत्थानमधर्मस्य तदात्मानौ सृजाम्यहम्
यदा यदा हि धर्मस्य ग्लानिर्भवति भारत अभ्युत्थानमधर्मस्य तदात्मानं सृजाम्यहम्
परित्राणाय साधूनां विनाशाय च दुष्कृतां धर्म संस्थापनार्थाय सम्भवामि युगे युगे
परित्राणाय साधूनां विनाशाय च दुष्कृतां धर्म संस्थापनार्थाय सम्भवामि युगे युगे
जन्म कर्म च मे दिव्यम् एवं यो वेत्ति तत्त्वतः त्यक्त्वा देहं पुनर्जन्म नैति मामेति सोऽर्जुन
जन्म कर्म च मे दिव्यम् एवं यो वेत्ति तत्त्वतः त्यक्त्वा देहं पुनर्जन्म नैति मामेति सोऽर्जुन
वीतरागभयक्रोधाः मन्मया मामुपाश्रिताः बहवो ज्ञानतपसा भूता मद्भावमागताः
वीतरागभयक्रोधाः मन्मया मामुपाश्रिताः बहवो ज्ञानतपसा पूता मद्भावमागताः
ये यथा मां प्रपद्यन्ते तांस्तथैव भजाम्यहम् मम वर्त्मानुवर्तन्ते मनुष्याः पार्थ सर्वशः
ये यथा मां प्रपद्यन्ते तांस्तथैव भजाम्यहम् मम वर्त्मानुवर्तन्ते मनुष्याः पार्थ सर्वशः
काङ्क्षन्तः कर्मणां सिद्धिं यजन्त इह देवताः क्षिप्रौ हि मानुषे लोके सिद्धिर्भवति कर्मजा
काङ्क्षन्तः कर्मणां सिद्धिं यजन्त इह देवताः क्षिप्रं हि मानुषे लोके सिद्धिर्भवति कर्मजा
चातुर्वर्ण्यं मया सृष्टं गुणकर्म विभागशः तस्य कर्तारमपि मां विद्य कर्तारमव्ययम्
चातुर्वर्ण्यं मया सृष्टं गुणकर्म विभागशः तस्य कर्तारमपि मां विद्य कर्तारमव्ययम्
न मां कर्माणि लिम्पन्ति न मे कर्मफले स्पृहा इति मां योऽभिजानाति कर्मभिर्न स बध्यते
न मां कर्माणि लिम्पन्ति न मे कर्मफले स्पृहा इति मां योऽभिजानाति कर्मभिर्न स बध्यते एवं ज्ञात्वा कृतं कर्म पूर्वैरपि मुमुक्षुभिः कुरु कर्मैव तस्मात् त्वं पूर्वैः पूर्वतरं कृतम्
एवं ज्ञात्वा कृतं कर्म पूर्वैरपि मुमुक्षुभिः कुरु कर्मैव तस्मात् त्वं पूर्वै पूर्वतरं कृतम्
किं कर्म किमकर्मेति कवयोऽप्यत्र मोहिताः तत्ते कर्म प्रवक्ष्यामि यज्ञात्वा मोक्ष्यसे शुभात्
किं कर्म किमकर्मेति कवयोऽप्यत्र मोहिताः तत्ते कर्म प्रवक्ष्यामि यज्ञात्वा मोक्षसे शुभात्
कर्मणो ह्यपि बोद्धव्यं च विकर्मणः अकर्मणश्च बोद्धव्यं गहना कर्मणो गतिः
कर्मणो ह्यभिबोद्धव्यं बोद्धव्यं च विकर्मणः अकर्मणश्च बोद्धव्यं गहना कर्मणो गतिः
कर्मण्यकर्म यः पश्येत् अकर्मणि च कर्म यः स बुद्धिमान् मनुष्येषु स युक्तः कृत्स्न कर्म कृत्
कर्मण्यकर्म यः पश्येत् अकर्मणि च कर्म यः स बुद्धिमान् मनुष्येषु स युक्तः कृत्स्न कर्म कृत्
यस्य सर्वे समारम्भाः कामसङ्कल्पवर्जिताः ज्ञानाग्निदग्धकर्माणं तमाहुः पण्डितं बुधाः
यस्य सर्वे समारम्भाः कामसङ्कल्पवर्जिताः ज्ञानाग्निदग्धकर्माणं तमाहुः पण्डितं बुधाः
त्यक्त्वा कर्मफलासङ्गं नित्यतृप्तो निराश्रयः कर्मण्यभिप्रवृत्तोऽपि नैव किञ्चित् करोति सः
त्यक्त्वा कर्मफलासङ्गं नित्यतृप्तो निराश्रयः कर्मण्यभिप्रवृत्तोऽपि नैव किञ्चित् करोति सः
निराशीर्यत चित्तात्मा त्यक्तसर्वपरिग्रहः शारीरं केवलं कर्म कुर्वन्नाप्नोति किल्बिषम्
निराशीर्यत चित्तात्मा त्यक्तः सर्वपरिग्रहः शारीरं केवलं कर्म कुर्वन्नाप्नोति किल्बिषम्
यदृच्छालाभसन्तुष्टः द्वन्द्वातीतो विमत्सरः समसिद्धावसिद्धौ च कृत्वापि न निबध्यते
यदृच्छालाभसन्तुष्टः द्वन्द्वातीतो विमत्सरः समसिद्धावसिद्धौ च कृत्वापि न निबध्यते
गतसङ्गस्य मुक्तस्य ज्ञानावस्थितचेतसः यज्ञायाचरतः कर्म समग्रं प्रविलीयते
गतसङ्गस्य मुक्तस्य ज्ञानावस्थितचेतसः यज्ञायाचरतः कर्म समग्रं प्रविलीयते
ब्रह्मार्पणं ब्रह्म हविः ब्रह्माग्नौ ब्रह्मणाहुतं ब्रह्मैव तेन गन्तव्यं ब्रह्म कर्म समाधिना
ब्रह्मार्पणं ब्रह्म हविः ब्रह्माग्नौ ब्रह्मणाहुतं ब्रह्मैव तेन गन्तव्यं ब्रह्म कर्म समाधिना
दैवमेवापरे यज्ञं योगिनः पर्युपासते ब्रह्माग्नावपरे यज्ञं यज्ञेनैवोपजुह्वति
दैवमेवापरे यज्ञं योगिनः पर्युपासते ब्रह्माग्नावपरे यज्ञं यज्ञेनैवोपजुह्वति
श्रोत्रादीनिन्द्रियाण्यन्ये संयमाग्निषु जुह्वति शब्दादीन् विषयानन्ये अग्निषु जुह्वति
श्रोत्रादीनिन्द्रियाण्यन्ये संयमाग्निषु जुह्वति शब्दातीन् विषयानन्ये इन्द्रियाग्निषु जुह्वति
सर्वाणीन्द्रियकर्माणि प्राणकर्म परे आत्मसंयमयोगाग्नौ जुह्वति ज्ञानदीपिते
सर्वाणीन्द्रियकर्माणि प्राणकर्माणि चापरे आत्मसंयमयोगाग्नौ जुह्वति ज्ञानदीपिते
द्रव्ययज्ञास्तपो यज्ञाः योगयज्ञास्तथा परे स्वाध्यायज्ञानयज्ञाश्च यतयः संशितव्रताः
द्रव्ययज्ञास्तपो यज्ञाः योगयज्ञास्तथा परे स्वाध्यायज्ञानयज्ञाय यतयः संशितव्रताः अपाने जुह्वति प्राणं प्राणे पानं तथा परे प्राणापानगतिरुद्ध्वा प्राणायामपरायणाः
अपाने जुह्वति प्राणं प्राणे पानं तथा परे प्राणापानगतिरुद्ध्वा प्राणायामपरायणाः
अपरे नियताहाराः प्राणान् प्राणेषु जुह्वति सर्वेप्येते यज्ञविदः यज्ञक्षपितकल्मषाः
अपरे नियताहाराः प्राणान् प्राणेषु जुह्वति सर्वेप्येते यज्ञविदः यज्ञक्षपितकल्मषाः
यज्ञशिष्टामृतभुजः यान्ति ब्रह्म सनातनम् नायं लोकोऽस्त्ययज्ञस्य कुतोऽन्यः कुरु सत्तमा
यज्ञशिष्टामृतभुजः यान्ति ब्रह्म सनातनम् नायं लोकोऽस्त्ययज्ञस्य कुतोऽन्यः कुरु सत्तमा
एवं बहुविधा यज्ञाः वितता ब्रह्मणो मुखे कर्मजान् विद्धितान् सर्वान् एवं ज्ञात्वा विमोक्ष्यसे
एवं बहुविधा यज्ञाः वितता ब्रह्मणो मुखे कर्मजान् विद्धितान् सर्वान् एवं ज्ञात्वा विमोक्ष्यसे
श्रेयान् द्रव्यमयात्यज्ञान् ज्ञानयज्ञः परन्तप सर्वं कर्माखिलं पार्थ ज्ञाने परिसमाप्यते
श्रेयान् द्रव्यमयाद्यज्ञात् ज्ञानयज्ञः परन्तप सर्वं कर्माखिलं पार्थ ज्ञाने परिसमाप्यते
तद्विद्धि प्रणिपातेन परिप्रश्नेन सेवया उपदेक्ष्यन्ति ते ज्ञानं ज्ञानिनस्तत्त्वदर्शिनः
तद्विद्धि प्रणिपातेन परिप्रश्नेन सेवया उपदेक्ष्यन्ति ते ज्ञानं ज्ञानिनस्तत्त्वदर्शिनः
यज्ञात्वा न पुनर्मोहम् एवं यास्यसि पाण्डव येन भूतान्यशेषेण द्रक्ष्यस्यात्मन्यथो मयि
यज्ञात्वा न पुनर्मोहम् एवं यास्यसि पाण्डव येन भूतान्यशेषेण द्रक्ष्यस्यात्मन्यथो मयि
अपि चेतसि पापेभ्यः सर्वेभ्यः पापकृत्तमः सर्वं ज्ञानप्रदं प्लवेनैव व्रजिनं सन्तरिष्यसि
अपि चेदसि पापेभ्यः सर्वेभ्यः पापकृत्तमः सर्वं ज्ञानप्लवेनैव वृजिनं सन्तरिष्यसि
यथैधांसि समिद्धोऽग्निः भस्मसात् कुरुतेऽर्जुन ज्ञानाग्निः सर्वकर्माणि भस्मसात् कुरुते तथा
यथैधांसि समिद्धोऽग्निः भस्मसात् कुरुतेऽर्जुन ज्ञानाग्निः सर्वकर्माणि भस्मसात् कुरुते तथा
न हि ज्ञानेन सदृशं पवित्रमिह विद्यते तत्स्वयं योगसंसिद्धः कालेनात्मनि विन्तति
न हि ज्ञानेन सदृशं पवित्रमिह विद्यते तत्स्वयं योगसंसिद्धः कालेनात्मनि विन्दति
श्रद्धावान् लभते ज्ञानं तत्परः संयतेन्द्रियः ज्ञानं लब्ध्वा परां शान्तिम् अचिरेणाधिगच्छति
श्रद्धावान् लभते ज्ञानं तत्परः संयतेन्द्रियः ज्ञानं लब्ध्वा परां शान्तिम् अचिरेणाधिगच्छति
अज्ञश्चाश्रद्धधानश्च संशयात्मा विनश्यति नायं लोकोऽस्ति न परः न सुखं संशयात्मनः
अज्ञश्चाश्रद्धधानश्च संशयात्मा विनश्यति नायं लोकोऽस्ति न परः न सुखं संशयात्मनः
योगः संन्यस्तकर्माणं ज्ञानसञ्छिन्न संशयम् आत्मवन्तं न कर्माणि निबध्नन्ति धनञ्जय
योगसन्न्यस्तकर्माणं ज्ञानसञ्छिन्न संशयम् आत्मवन्तं न कर्माणि निबध्नन्ति धनञ्जय
तस्मादज्ञानसम्भूतं हृत्स्थं ज्ञानासिनात्मनः छित्त्वैनं संशयं योगम् आतिष्ठोत्तिष्ठ भारत
तस्मादज्ञानसम्भूतं हृत्स्थं ज्ञानासीनात्मनः छित्त्वैनं संशयं योगम् आतिष्ठोत्तिष्ठ भारत
ॐ तत्सत्
इति
इति श्रीमद्भगवद्गीतासु उपनिषत्सु ब्रह्मविद्यायां योगशास्त्रे श्रीकृष्णार्जुनसंवादे ज्ञानकर्मसन्न्यासयोगो नाम चतुर्थोऽध्यायः वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्तं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्
Hari Om. So beautiful. It was wonderfully chanted. Both the chapters, chapter 3 and chapter 4, are chanted so beautifully by all our lead chanters. And as you would have noticed in the slides that were shown earlier, below each verse was given the meanings given by various great masters and great commentators of the Bhagavad Gita, from the modern to the ancient times, like Swami Chimayananda and Swami Dayananda Ji, Swami Gambhirananda, George Fersen, who's a German, and then Swami Vireshwarananda, and then Ekanadishwaran, then Dr. S. Radhakrishnan was the previous president of India, then Swami Rama, then Yuan Maskaro, and such great masters. So it gives a wide perspective from both Western as well as Eastern, and as well as a bit earlier as well as current modern times. So the whole idea is to grasp the Gita from different angles. Now we go over to the Gita Mahatmya, the greatness of the Gita itself. So this will be chanted by Vinod Deji.
अथ गीता माहात्म्यं Gita Shastramidam Punyam Yah Pathet Prayatah Puman Vishnoh Padamavapnoti Bhayashokadi Varjitaha Gita Dhyayana Shilasya Pranayama Parasya Cha Naiva Santi Hi Papani Purvajanma Kritani Cha Malanirmocanam Pumsam Jalasnanam Dine Dine Sakrit Gitam Bhasi Snanam Samsara Malanashanam Gita Sugita Kartavya Kimanyai Shastra Vistaraihi Yasvayam Padmanabhasya Mukhapadma Vinisruta Bharatamrita Sarvaswam Vishnor-Vaktradvinisrutam Gita Gangodakam Pitva Punarjanmana Vidyate Sarvopanishado Gavaha Dogdha Gopalanandanaha Partho Vatsas Sudhir Bhokta Dugdham Gitamritam Mahat Yekam Shastram Devaki Putra Gitam Yeko Devo Devaki Putra Eva Yeko Mantrastasya Namani Yani Karmapyekam Tasya Devasya Seva Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsachanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum Harihi Om.
KKG, you're muted.
Yeah, so what I was saying was thank you so much to the lead chanters. And before we go to the next segment, let me just spotlight all the lead chanters. All lead chanters, kindly enable your videos, please. So let me just first have this is Sindhuji. Want to say anything, Sindhuji?
Thank you so much for this opportunity. Very blessed to be along with this wonderful platform.
Thank you so much, Sindhuji. Now we have Vinodini. Last time she could not, she signed out before that. So this is Vinodini. She chanted the Bhagavad Gita as well as the Mahatmya. Want to say anything?
Namaste, namaste, namaste to everybody.
Yeah, thank you. Sunilji, want to, this is of course Sunilji. Sunilji is our Panditji.
Namo Namah Hari Om, Namaste. Very happy to see competitively everybody is learning and chanting. Very good sign.
Thank you so much. Then we have Rajita ji. This is Rajita ji. She's been a long-term chanter, and so wonderful to have you. Want to say anything?
Hari Om. Thank you.
Thank you, Rajita ji. And finally, last but not the least, and very importantly, we'll have Padmini ji. And Padmini ji is actually, she's a lead chanter for a long time, also teaching chanting to many people. And today and tomorrow, she's actually leading 2 Aarti sessions in Hindu Center. So all of you are who are interested can actually go and attend her sessions at Hindu Center, 132 Owen Road. It's a great opportunity that you should not miss. And those interested, please contact Padmini ji, or you can go to Hindu Center directly also. All or see their website. I can just briefly show the this thing also. The flyer for the session. Let me just show that for a second. Yeah. So this is the flyer that there's a flyer about the event that she's holding today and tomorrow at Hindu Center. So those who are interested, kindly go to this Hindu Center, and there's a QR code here which you can actually scan and become a part of it. There's a small fee of $10 for this, and I'm sure that you will not regret attending this. Okay, great. So I think let us go to our next part of the segment. Next, we have the talk for the session today. So let me just share the screen for that. So we have the talk for today is by Sri Balaji Ramaswamiji, and he has been a guide as well as a sadhaka or a learner of the Bhagavad Gita as well as various other Vedantic texts of from our Indian spiritual traditions. And today, even though he's not in Singapore, he is actually working in Dubai for the past few months. So he has been kind enough to join us, even though 4 hours ahead of our time here. So thank you so much, Balaji. Balaji can actually take over. I think probably he has some slides to show. So maybe you are now already made as a co-host. So you can actually present yourself. Is that okay? So let me just spotlight you first before. So this is Balaji. So Balaji, you can take control over this. You can present yourself.
Hari Om. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes, we can see. Yeah, very good.
Hari Om.
So we have about 40 minutes if you can use, and after that we can have a short Q&A session, because these 2 chapters are very beautiful chapters. So I'm sure a lot of people have a lot of questions. So maybe 45 minutes we can take, and after that we can give 15 minutes for a short Q&A session.
Okay. Om. Tvameva mata cha pita tvameva bandhuscha sakha tvameva vidya dravinam tvameva sarvam mama deva deva. Shri Dakshinamurti Sudeshikendram Dvaipayanam Sutrakritam Munindram Shri Shankaram Bhashyakritam Yatindram Maddeshi Kanchapi Namami Vityai. Om Namo Brahmadibhyo Brahma Vidya Sampradaya Kartribhyo Vamsarishibhyo Mahatbhyo Namo Gurubhyaha Sarvopaplavarahita Prajnana Ganaha Pratyagarto Brahmaivahamasmi. Om Prapannaparijataya Totra Vetraikapanaye Jnana Mudraya Krishnaya Gita Mrutaduhe Namaha. Pranams everyone. So today I intend to actually go through these chapters of 3 and 4. A quick summary of chapter 3 and 4. As you know, Bhagavad Gita consists of 18 chapters, and it is organized as 3 shatkams. The first shatkam consisting of the first 6 chapters cover Karma Yoga as a sadhana, Jiva Swarupam, and also Jiva Prayatna. The second shatkam covers Upasana Yoga, Ishvara Swarupam, and Ishvara Anugraha. And then the final shatkam covers Jnana Yoga as the sadhana, and then it also talks about Jiva Ishvara Swarupa Aikyam and the values that one must possess, Sadgunas. Now in this chapter 3, Karma Yoga, we can actually split the Karma Yoga chapter into 13 segments or 13 sections. The first 2 slokas were Arjuna's question. And his question was, if there are 2 sadhanas, Jnana and Karma, and if Jnana is the one which gives moksha, then why are you not asking me to take to Jnana? Instead, you are asking me to take to Karma. That was Arjuna's question to Bhagavan. And his question is, because if Bhagavan had already mentioned, if Jnana Yoga is the one which leads to liberation, he had already mentioned that. And so he asked the question, you are glorifying Jnana Yoga, but ultimately you are advising me to follow Karma Yoga. So from sloka 3 to 7, Bhagavan gave the answer, and Bhagavan does not give a straight answer. He made certain fundamentals very clear. And he started with Lokesmin Divida Nishta, Pura Prokta Mayanaga. He said, Bhagavan said, I have established 2 sadhanas and 2 nishtas. 2 nishtas meaning 2 lifestyles. The 2 lifestyles are Pravritti and Nivritti Marga, which is basically the Grihastha or Sannyasa Ashrama. And then the 2 sadhanas are Karma and Jnana Yoga. And he also clarified, in this, the lifestyle does not determine moksha. Whatever be the lifestyle, If a person follows those two sadhanas, he will attain moksha. And as long as he performs karma yoga sadhana, he will have to attain mental purity, and then he performs jnana yoga as a sadhana, he will attain jnana and then moksha. So there is a choice on nishtha, whether to take grahastha or sannyasa, but there is no choice on sadhana. This is the essence of Bhagavan's answer. And it's only the sadhanas that determine moksha. And karma yoga is action oriented. The sadhana is action oriented. Jnana yoga is where one renounces action. So now Arjuna could get a doubt. He could say, let me do jnana yoga as a sadhana. Why should I do karma yoga as a sadhana? Therefore, Bhagavan clarifies in the next sloka. He says, without doing karma yoga, one cannot come to jnana yoga. Only by purifying oneself through karma yoga, one can come to jnana yoga. And he mentioned that one cannot renounce actions without taking them up first. Bhagavan also mentioned no one can remain without any action. Depending on their guna, they will be involved in some action or other. And one other important point he made was that if a person renounces action without having any proper mental maturity, he will turn out to be a hypocrite or a mithyachara. Thus, basically, Bhagavan gave the dangers of renouncing karma. If a person takes up sannyasa without getting the mental maturity, then it will create issues for both him as well as the society. So the next topic Bhagavan covered between sloka 8 and 16 was karma yoga, the main topic of this chapter. Bhagavan had said to Arjuna that one cannot come to jnana yoga without doing karma yoga. So the question was, what is karma yoga then? The first point he made was, karma yoga is performing one's duties. Niyatam kuru karmatvam. Performing your duties is karma yoga. What it means is, our raga dvesha, our likes and dislikes should not determine our actions, but our kartavya buddhi should determine our actions. This is the first point that he made. Second point he made was, in yajnartat karmano anyatra. Bhagavan talked about the attitude or bhavana that one must have when performing actions. Already he had defined what sort of actions. What sort of actions is duties. What sort of attitude must one have? It should be Ishvara Arpana. And even if one does a kamya karma, desire-driven actions, in the initial stages of spiritual sadhana, then the person must take the outcome as Ishvara Prasada. The next point that Bhagavan made on karma yoga was about performing the Panchamaha yajnas. Deva yajna, Pitru yajna, Brahma yajna, Manushya yajna, Bhuta yajna. And he mentioned that an yajna-based life is karma yoga. Then on the next point on karma yoga, Bhagavan underscored the concept of dharmo rakshati rakshitaha. Karma yoga is about living a life of dharma. If one lives a life of dharma, then the dharma which is protected by us will protect us. If we protect nature, it will protect us. Likewise, if we will have to help devas, and the devas will help us in return. Bhagavan says this is karma yoga. Then in sloka 14, Bhagavan called karma yoga as jagat chakra hetuhu. As in, if we perform karma yajnas as karma yoga for devas, it will result in punya. And because of this punya or adrishtam, the rains come. From the rains, the food come. From the food come the bodies. From the bodies again, action or karma. And again, it goes to rains, comes to rains. So if the world has to function properly, live in harmony, it can happen only through karma yoga. So body is dependent on annam. Annam is dependent on rains. Rains are dependent on punya. Punya is dependent on karma. Karma again dependent on body. So the chakram is completed. Then in shlokas 17 and 18, Bhagavan talked about moksha swarupa. These two slokas should be in Jnana Yoga chapter. But what is moksha? Whenever we get a doubt what is moksha, what is to be attained, we can refer to these kind of slokas. Bhagavan said, Atmaratihi. Atmaratihi, Atmatriptaha, Atmanyeva Santushtaha. Atmaratihi means he revels in himself. He is happy in himself. Atmatriptaha means being contented in oneself. So what is the difference? Atmaratihi means not finding any problem or complaint or fault in oneself is Atmaratihi. Atmatriptihi is not finding fault or any problem or complaint in the things handled by oneself is Atmatriptihi. And then Atmanyeva Santushtaha, being fulfilled, always contented. And Bhagavan said, Tasya karyam na vidyate. He does not, the person who has these qualities, he has no responsibilities. He does not have any responsibilities. And then in Shloka 18, Bhagavan said, Naiva tasya kritenartaha na kritenahe kaschana. This person who has attained this moksha, or one who has attained moksha, he does not have any condition. That this has to be done, this must happen in this manner. In other words, I get fulfillment by doing this. Some people have this. I get only fulfillment by doing this. If I'm not able to do this, I feel unfulfilled. And there is that compulsion for people. For a jnani, there is no such compulsion. Whatever happens or does not happen, it does not affect him. That sort of mindset is moksha. He is not dependent on anything. And until a person gets that attitude, until that person gets that mindset, one should be involved in activity. Thus, Bhagavan gave the Swarupa of moksha, but also mentioned that until the time that one reaches here, a person must continue to remain in action. In Shloka 19, Bhagavan concluded Karma Yoga saying, Tasmat asakta satatam karyam karma samachara. Always perform the action appropriately without any attachment. Then in Shloka 20 and 29, between 20 and 29, the topic was Loka Sangraha, doing the actions for the sake of well-being of the society, or you can say Shishtacharaha, meaning way of life and teachings of live models society. Bhagavan had said that Karma Yoga has to be performed for Chitta Shuddhi, for mental purity. In case Arjuna had this doubt that I have enough Chitta Shuddhi or mental purity, therefore I need not perform Karma Yoga, Bhagavan said, one must perform Karma Yoga, or one must perform their duty, not Karma Yoga, must perform their duty as an example for others. And Bhagavan gave Janaka as an example. And the topics between 20 and 29 can be divided into 4. 1, Loka Sangraha, performing the duties for the sake of well-being of the society. So if a jnani is doing his duties, one should understand that he is not doing it for the sake of Chitta Shuddhi. He is doing it for the sake of welfare of others. The second topic is Shishtachara, meaning the way of life and teachings of live models. Yadyat acharati shreshtaha tadadyeva itaraha janaha anuvartade, Bhagavan said. Whatever is performed by a superior person is copied by his followers. Everyone looks at their role models to lead their lives. And therefore, Bhagavan said that Arjuna, you are a leader, you are a role model, you have so many people looking up to you. Thus, you have a greater responsibility. And here is where we come to know that dharma, adharma knowledge is known to us through three things. One, Shruti, or the Vedas, is the first pramana. The second is Smriti. Then the third one is Shishtachara. The third topic within this section was advice given to jnanis. The advice that Bhagavan gave to jnanis was that jnanis must not give any advice to karmis. That is, Vairagya should not be taught to people who have desires, or who wants to experience pleasure, who wants to accumulate things. karma or action should not be criticized. We should encourage them to perform kamya karma. In case if we force this Vedanta or Vairagya on them, then they may not be able to renounce their desires properly and they will end up being hypocrites. Therefore, Bhagavan gave advice to Jnani as na buddhi bedam janayet. Then the last topic within this section was Jnani Ajnani Karma Beda. Bhagavan gave a difference in the way a Jnani and an Ajnani perform action. Bhagavan said, karma comes out of Prakriti. And a person, Ahankara Vimudhatma, a person who is deluded by Ahankara, due to Ahankara, he considers I am the doer. Kartaham iti manyate. He considers I am the doer. So that is for an Ajnani. An Ajnani thinks he is the doer. Whereas a Jnani, for a Jnani, Guna Guneshu Vartante iti matva na sajjate. He remains detached with the understanding that the gunas function among gunas, which means the gunas sense organs function among sense objects. So both the Jnani as well as an Ajnani get involved in action, but a Jnani does it for Loka Sangraha and does not get Papa or Punya, whereas an Ajnani gets them. Why? Because an Ajnani thinks he is the doer and for him the self is the body and mind. Whereas for a Jnani, he understands that he is not the doer. For him, the self is Atma. So these 4 points came out in between shlokas 20 and 29. And then in shloka 30, Bhagavan gave the essence of Karma Yoga. Mai Sarvani Karmani, the important shloka. First point was Adhyatma Chetasa. Adhyatma Chetasa is a person with a clear knowledge on Karma Yoga, Viveka Buddhi, and also has an Astika Buddhi. The Astika Buddhi being that Ishvara is my Karma Pala Data. So that is Adhyatma Chetasa. With that knowledge, Mai Sarvani Karmani Sanyasya, dedicating all actions to Ishvara, doing Ishvara Arpana, Nirashir, having no expectations on results, Nirmamo Bhutva, with no feeling that this is mine, there is no Mamakara, Vigata Jwaraha, with equanity, with Samatvam, or we can say without any anxiety or tension. This is the essence of Karma Yoga, how to perform actions. Bhagavan as Karma Yoga. Then in 31 and 32, Bhagavan did a Karma Yoga Stuti. He praised Karma Yoga. Ye me matamidam nityam anutishtanti manavaha. Those people who follow the teaching of mine and without being critical, they are freed from the bonds of karma. But they are those who criticize my teaching, who do not follow it. They are completely deluded and they are doomed. They waste this life. They are spiritually doomed. They may get some material benefit, but ultimately they are spiritually lost. They won't get any peace of mind at all. Then in shloka 33 and 34, the Prakriti Purushartha Vivekaha. What makes a person commit actions? Is it their free will or is it their Papa Punya? What is the reason for people to behave differently? Those were answered by Bhagavan. Sadrisham cheshtate swasyaha. Prakriter jnanavanapi. Even a jnani acts according to his swabhava or nature, is what Bhagavan confirmed. And he said, Nigraham kim karishyati. What will restraint do? How can we stop that? Everybody will act according to their Prakriti only, according to their swabhava, according to their nature. Then he added, likes and dislikes are bound to exist with regard to the object in every sense organ. In every sense organ, we have likes and dislikes for the objects that we come across. And we should not come under their control because they are our enemies. indriyasyarte ragadvesho vyavastito. Every individual has prakriti, this swabhava. This prakriti creates this ragadvesha, and this ragadvesha creates the first thought. We do not have a choice when the first thought of ragadvesha comes up in our mind. But not to convert that into action, we have a choice. Converting that into our action requires our free will. And not to convert into action, it can only be done through the support of our knowledge of Shastras and our free will and effort. And we should use our knowledge and free will to ensure that the thought does not manifest into action. Then in Shloka 35, Paradharma Tyagaha was discussed. Bhagavan had already said doing one's duty or doing swadharma, performing swadharma is karma yoga. Here he confirmed not doing another person's duty is also karma yoga. Another person's duty is not adharma in samanya sense, but it should not be done. For example, a sannyasi should not be accumulating wealth, which is a dharma of grihastha or householder, and accumulating wealth is not adharma for a grihastha, but adharma for sannyasi. Similarly, a brahmachari should not look to earn money or be involved in politics. So, paradharma tyagaha was mentioned by Bhagavan. Then in Shloka 36, it is Arjuna's question again. Arjuna asked, nobody likes to commit sins, and yet they commit sins. Why? Anichannapi varshneya bhaladiva niyojitah. Though unwilling, as though he is being forcibly persuaded. And this question is for people who believe in papa coming back as dukkham. Here, when Arjuna says nobody wants to commit sins, it must be understood as nobody wants to accumulate sorrow. And yet, why do they commit sins? And Bhagavan answers that from Shloka 37 to 43, Bhagavan answered, Kama yesha, krodha yesha, rajoguna samudbhava. The desire or attachment, basically the raga dvesha that we have in our mind, is the cause for people to commit sins and accumulate sorrow. Desire in the mind is the cause for sorrow. If the desire is removed, they will not commit sins. And Bhagavan talked about three topics here. One, Kama Swarupa, as in desire's nature. Then he talked about Kama Adhishtanam. Where does the desire reside? The desire's origin. Then Kama Jaya Upaya, a plan to overcome these desires. These three are very important because for us to win an enemy, Bhagavan calls this desire as an enemy, we should know clearly about the enemy. And Kama Swarupa, Bhagavan gave Esha Krodha. Desire manifests as anger. And Rajoguna Samudbhava. It is born out of Rajoguna. And then Maha Ashanaha. It is insatiable. The more we feed the desire, the more it will ask. Then Mahapapma. It is the cause for huge sins. And Iha Vairinam. It is the enemy of our life in this life. And Kama Swarupa is such that it cannot be easily satisfied. Then Bhagavan gave the location of karma. Indriyani Mano Buddhi, he said. The sense organs, objects do not have a desire in it. The sense objects do not carry any desire. It is the sense organs which carry the desire. Sense organs, then Manaha, our mind has it. Then Buddhi, our intellect, even our intellect has desire in it. In short, we can say our Sukshma Sarira has desire in it. Our subtle body has desire. Then what is the way to win this desire? Bhagavan gave two ways. One was Damaha and Shamaha. Sensory and mental discipline. So control of mind, control of sense organs are the ways to go to reduce desires. Then in Shloka 42 and 43, the last two, in the end of the Shlokas, Bhagavan, in last two Shlokas, Bhagavan gave Atma Jnana as the upaya. Atma Jnana as the permanent solution. And he reiterated that the desire must be overcome. Jahi Shatrum Mahabaho Karma Rupam Kama Rupam Durasata. Conquer the enemy which is in the form of elusive desire, he said. And how did he complete this third chapter? He completed this third chapter with the term Durasata, most difficult enemy, most elusive enemy. And he says this desire is very difficult to win it, but kill it, conquer it. Bhagavan accepts it is not easy, but he says it can be overcome, gives a way to it, and says conquer it. It must be conquered. So Bhagavan completed this chapter thus. This chapter is called Karma Yoga. Karma means duties. Yoga means sadhana. To convert our duties into sadhana is Karma Yoga. Then chapter 4. Jnana Karma Sannyasa Yoga. Here again, the sections, we can split it into 9 sections. In the first 3 shlokas, Bhagavan talk about Yoga Mahima, the greatness of the knowledge that we received in the previous 2 chapters, that is chapter 2 and chapter 3. Especially in chapter 2, under the titles of Sankyam and Yogam, Bhagavan had given us Atma Tattva and Karma Yoga. So he begins the 4th chapter talking about its greatness of both Karma Yoga as well as Jnana Yoga. And he started off saying that I had given this knowledge in the beginning to Surya Bhagavan. And this knowledge has come down through a parampara. And then in the 4th shloka, Arjuna asks a question. Arjuna asks, you were born now. How could you have given this knowledge to Surya Bhagavan in the beginning? Now, Arjuna's question comes because Arjuna is not aware that Bhagavan Krishna is an Avatara Purusha. Therefore, from Shloka 5 to Shloka 8, Avatara Tattva is given. Bhagavan clarifies that I am Avatara Purusha. I am Ishvara Swarupa. And in every yuga, I take many avatars. And how do we understand Avatara Tattva? Avatara Tattva, Ishvara for this Avatara Tattva does not take a body out of karma. It does not take a body out of karma pala, like a jiva, which does. And a jiva takes the body also to exhaust karma. An avatara does not take a body to exhaust karma. So that is the first point about avatara. Then the second question is, when does he take an avatara? Whenever adharma increases, there is a decline in dharma. Then at that time, to restore and maintain dharma, in the world that Ishvara has created himself, he takes avatara. Then in the next point is, how does he maintain dharma? Dharma is not a thing to be maintained. It's not an object to be maintained. Dharma is maintained by people following dharma. And how Bhagavan also said, Paritranaya sadhunam. By protecting the people who follow dharma, dharma is restored, dharma is maintained. Vinashaya cha dushkritam. By killing the unrighteous people, adharma is destroyed. That is how Bhagavan says he restores dharma. Thus, in Avatara Tattva, Bhagavan talked about how does an avatara take place, when does it take place, why is there an avatara, and how Ishvara restores dharma. Then, from Shloka 9 to 15, Bhagavan talked about certain sadhanas and also talked about moksha as the benefit of these sadhanas. What sadhana did Bhagavan talk about? Bhagavan said, whoever understands my real nature, janma karma cha me divyam, they do not take any body, another body after the death of this body. Then he also said, Vita raga bhaya krodha, ones who are free from attachment, free from fear, free from anger, manmayaha, ones who are completely absorbed in me, as in ones who have me as their goal, purified by the austerity of knowledge, jnana tapasa, they attain my swarupa. Thus, Bhagavan giving out all the sadhanas. Then the question comes to us to why is it that not everybody, why not everybody attain Bhagavan? Everybody lives life according to their desires. So Bhagavan says, everybody lives according to their desires. I neither force moksha upon a person, nor do I try to hold it back for any. I give whatever each one prays to me for. Then Bhagavan talked about human life, how a human life should be. The 4 varnas were talked about. He mentions that I had created these classifications based on guna and karma. So thus in this section, Bhagavan gave some sadhanas, and the benefit of these is Brahma Prapti, or to attain Ishvara. Then from Shloka 16 to 25, Bhagavan talked about the topic of Jnana Karma Sannyasa, which is the central theme of not only the 4th chapter, but also the entire Bhagavad Gita. It's a very important portion from Shloka 16 to 24. And this portion, Bhagavan wants to point out that there are 2 types of renunciation, 2 types of karma sannyasa. Bhagavan says a lot of people have delusion or confusion. They do not understand what is karma, what is akarma. Kim karma, kim akarmeti, kavayopyatra mohita. It is not, even for wise people, it is difficult. It is not easy to understand what is action, what is inaction. Bhagavan said, I will explain. And what is the benefit of knowing this? Bhagavan said, Jnatva mokshyase ashubhat. That knowledge itself will free us from inauspiciousness. And how did he give this concept? In Shloka 18, he said, Karmani akarma yah pashyed akarmani chaya karmayah. Those who see action in inaction and inaction in action. He conveyed a truth through this sort of seemingly confusing and contradicting teaching. The truth is, Bhagavan says, Atma Akarta. Atma is never a doer. The actions of the body seem to be like coming from Atma. Therefore, what we should see? We should see the non-doer Atma in the actions which are seemingly done by Atma. Non-doer Atma in the actions which are seemingly done by Atma. It's not done by Atma. Whereas for Anatma, Anatma is inert and it is always active. Anatma is never inactive. In case if we think that the body and mind is not in action, then we should see, if we think that the body and mind is at rest, then we should see action in that inactive Anatma. We should see the root of the action. Therefore, what we have to understand, the body is forever in action and the self, Atma, is never in action. This is the essence. And we have to understand, the Atma, is neither the Karta nor the Bhokta. The body is always doing action. So when we talk about retirement, the body and mind never retires. And for Atma, there is no need for any retirement. Retirement is irrelevant for Atma, for it was never in action. So the Atma, is always the Akarta. The body is always in action. This is the key point. Now, who should do sannyasa of what? With this knowledge, what we should do, we should renounce the kartrutvam and bhoktrutvam. The doership and the enjoyership we should renounce. This is the essence and message from this chapter. And thus Bhagavan said, one should see inaction in jnani's actions and should see action in an ignorance action. Finally, Bhagavan classified jnanis into 2. One, a jnani who is in sannyasa ashrama, and another, a jnani who is in grihastha ashrama. Then from Shloka 25 to 33, Bhagavan talked about various sadhanas. A total of 12 supporting sadhanas were given by Bhagavan, and he imagined all these sadhanas as yajnas. Among these sadhanas, it is not mandatory that all sadhanas must be performed for moksha, but jnana must be attained for moksha. That jnana stuti was done by Bhagavan. And how was the stuti of jnana done? In shloka 32 and 33, Bhagavan said, all other yajnas, evam bahuvida yajna, all these different kinds of sacrifice have been described in the Vedas. Karmajan vidhi, know them as originating from different types of action. Shreyan dravyamayat yajna, jnana yajna parantapa. Know that jnana yajna is superior to all these material sacrifice. Then he said all these actions converge and they culminate in knowledge. Jnana Yoga was glorified. The greatness of knowledge was highlighted. Then in Shloka 34, Bhagavan gave how and where this knowledge must be attained. Tadvidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya. The knowledge must be attained from the Guru. And how should that person be? Inquire from him with reverence, render service unto him. And what sort of Guru we should have seen? Jnaninaha tattvadarshinaha, Bhagavan said. Basically, strotriya brahmanishta. The Guru should have studied the Shastras from a Sampradaya Guru and should be studying in knowledge as well. Then from Shloka 35 to 37, Bhagavan gave the Jnana Phalam, the benefit of this knowledge, the benefit of Atma Jnana. The first one was Mohanashaha. All the delusions in the mind are gone. Then Papanashaha. All the papams are done up to now are gone. Then Sarva Karma Nashaha. Karma is separately mentioned to include Punyam also. All the Punyam is also gone. Then in between 39 and 42, Bhagavan concluded by giving some values, sadhanas that must be practiced to help attain jnana. And among those sadhanas, Bhagavan gave importance to Shraddha. Shraddhavan labate jnanam. The one who has Shraddha will attain this divine knowledge. Various sadhanas can be performed by various people, different people. It is not necessary that everyone must perform the same sadhana. Each one can perform different types of sadhanas to get mental purity. But before they attain jnana, jnana yoga is compulsory. And before they attain jnana, to get moksha, one must perform these three mandatory sadhanas. And those three mandatory sadhanas are Shraddha, then Tatparaha, total commitment, or three attitudes we can say, two attitudes and one sadhana. Tatparaha, total commitment, as in Tivira Mumukshutvam should be there. Then Sanyatendriya, sensory discipline. Sanyatendriya means sensory discipline. We can also include mental discipline also. So a person with sensory and mental discipline, with Tivira Mumukshutvam and Shraddha, one must attain jnana. And once he attains this jnana, he attains moksha. Then Bhagavan gave a certain character that one must not possess at all. Bhagavan put an importance to the doubtfulness. He says, one who is doubtful and ignorant, he attains doom. He wastes his life. If someone is ignorant, then there is a possibility that he can attain knowledge over a period of time. The same thing for a person who does not have Shraddha initially also, he may get it over time. But if a person has got doubtful attitude, Bhagavan says, neither will he be able to grow spiritually nor in this material life also. And he can never get moksha. So through this knowledge, Bhagavan says, renounce all actions. Through this knowledge, destroy all your doubts. Atishta, uttishta, arise, get up. Yogam, take to karma yoga. Thus he concluded the chapter. Om Tat Sat. Sri Krishnaya Paramatmane Namah. Satnam Krishna Arpanastu. Thank you. Hari Om. You are on mute.
Sorry. Let me just Yeah, thanks so much, Balaji. I really regret that we have to ask you to stop at 45 minutes, and you really did exactly kept the schedule. So really amazing that you could control such fantastic topics in such a short time and in such beautiful manner also. Really amazing. And there are lots of things, very interesting things that Balaji said. One is likes and dislikes should not determine action. Sense of duty should determine action. Then he says one very interesting statement that Balaji made was, Jnani should not give advice to karmis. That is very interesting.
That's not
on
me.
the idea of
That's not me.
yeah.
That's
But-
Bhagavan giving the advice to Jnanis.
Yeah, that's very interesting. Then he says that about the connection between free will and action. You know how the free will is required to control your inner tendencies, and that inner tendencies should not lead to action. So that was also explained very well. And he said very interestingly, brahmachari should not indulge in politics. That is also very interesting. Then to conquer enemy, you must understand the enemy. That's another very wonderful and very very wise statement. So to understand your mind, to conquer your mind, you should basically understand your mind. So to understand the mind, deep sadhana and deep investigation, tapas as well as shastra, study of the shastras, swadhyaya is very very important. Then he also talked up in depth about the basic central ideas of chapter 5, the karma, akarma, vikarma, and action, how to see inaction in action and action in inaction. Very, very difficult topics for many people to understand. And what we should really renounce, if at all you want to do sannyasa, means basically you must only renounce kartrutvam and bhoktrutvam and not the action itself. So the feeling that one is as a doer, and also the feeling that one is a consumer of the action, or the enjoyer of the action. These two are the two things which basically we must renounce. So this was also pointed out by Balaji. And then he talked about the Shraddha and Tatpara, and as well as control of the Indriyas as important, and as the primary ways in which you should actually tackle the problem. And then also the idea about Samshayatma Vinashiti, but I think that's is a little doubtful thing about Samshayatma Vinashiti. I always had doubt about this sentence by Bhagavad. Anyway, so it was a really very very beautiful and very very wonderful coverage in such a short time of such important ideas of karma yoga, 2 chapters. Basically, Krishna is telling Arjuna want to run away from action. So he says that running away from action is not the way, not the way to go about. So anyway, we'll have some time. I will spend some time with the question answers from the audience. So let us get back to our procedure for today. Then after that, we can come back. Okay. So Balaji, I will start with the. We have just a few more verses to complete, and after that, we will come back to the questions. Okay, it will be available, right? Okay. So thanking Balaji once again. So we get back to our verses concluding mantras, and then we formally end the session for today. And after that, we have the question answer session. So the concluding mantras will be chanted by our Sunilji. Sunilji, you're here?
I'm here.
Okay, great.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Dhanyantara Amritakalashahastaya Sarvamaya Vinashanaya Trailokyanadhaya Mahavishnave Swaha. Om Achyutaya Namaha. Om Anantaya Namaha. Om Govindaya Namaha. Om Achyutaya Namaha. Om Anantaya Namaha. Om Govindaya Namaha. Om Achyutaya Namaha. Om Anantaya Namaha. Om Govindaya Namaha. Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsachanuramardanam Devaki Paramanantam Krishnam Bante Jagadgurum Kayena Vacha Manasendriyarva Buddhyatmanava प्रकृतेः स्वभावात् करोमि यद्यत् सकलं परस्मै नारायणेति समर्पयामि। सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः, सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः, सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु, मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्। सर्वेषां स्वस्तिर्भवतु, सर्वेषां शान्तिर्भवतु, सर्वेषां पूर्णं भवतु, सर्वेषां मङ्गलं भवतु। लोकाः समस्ताः सुखिनो भवन्तु, लोकाः समस्ताः सुखिनो भवन्तु, लोकाः समस्ताः सुखिनो भवन्तु। ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। हरिः ॐ तत्सद्। श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ॐ। Hari Om.
Thank you so much, Sunilji. We have a couple of small announcements, and after that we will come to the question answer. So firstly, we have four actually important lectures happening the coming week. That is the reason why actually we should have had this Parayan session next Saturday. But since there's a clash next Saturday with the youth forum that I'm showing on the screen, that's why we had to hold it today. So on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday evening at 7 p.m. We have talks by Dushyant Sridharji, who's a very illustrious speaker on Bhagavad Gita and various topics on Sanatana Dharma, and especially bhakti-related topics. And he's also a product of Bix Pilani, and is a very excellent speaker, and also a beautiful singer also. So it is like, gold getting perfume also, like that. So his speeches on chapter 9 of Bhagavad Gita, the Rajavidya Rajagurha Yogam, in the evenings at PDP Hall, and the morning there's on Saturday morning, basically 1 week exactly from now, is this youth forum. So all people, but only the chronologically youth are allowed entry. So not mental youth is not adequate. So all people are requested who have relatives, friends, sons, daughters, to participate in this youth forum. It will also be a very wonderful experience for them. And he has given a very beautiful, interesting, and very curious topic. Never have I ever. So this is supposed to trigger some ideas in the youths. So please, for the youths, it's essential to scan the QR code given here. All the details are given in the website also, so you can get this information from them. But in any case, all of you are definitely strongly encouraged to attend the Gita forum. Food is also there after the talk, 7 to 9. So it'll be very wonderful feast for the mind, for the spirit, and for the stomach. Then the next announcement is on articles for the Gita Vani. So this also I've asked to be put up in the website. So basically, we are seeking contributions from everybody on various essays and literary poems, etc. But all somehow related to Bhagavad Gita or spirituality in general. So that is the idea here. And the requirements and everything are given, and also in the website. It will be available in the website from very shortly. Submission deadline for submission is about 3rd July, almost 1 month from now. So there is adequate time, hopefully. And then final announcement is on this Gita Havan, which is basically the most important event, the signature event of Gita Jayanti in Singapore. It's on the 28th of July, Sunday, next month, the last Sunday of next month. So it's at PGP Hall, ground floor. So for details again, please visit gitajayanti.god.sg, the central source of all the information. So, Srinivas, you want to make any further announcements?
Yeah, one small announcement in the sense on the first day of International Gita Forum, instead of 7 o'clock, it will start at 6:40, where we will do the formalities of lighting up and everything, because Dushansi wants exactly 2 hours every day for his lectures. He is not ready to compromise or give away part of his time. So we are starting a bit early. So please do come at 6. Please assemble by 6:30 on first day. And on the second and third day, we intend to chant chapter 9 or at 6:30. So please come on all the days at 6:30. You'll have some fulfilling activities going on before the lecture commences. And the question answers, let me spill the bean here to the listener. The question answers will be a very limited session. It'll be only written questions, no questions on the podium like Sarva Priyanandaji. So no mics will be passed around. So if you have got any questions, you can write down and put it in the question box in the counter. Unfortunately, due to time limitations, only 1 or 2 questions may get answered. But I'm sure most of the doubts he will be answering through as he listens to his lecture, because most of the questions are common doubts, and this will be addressed by any lecturer, speaker in his lecture. So if you intentionally listen to his lecture, I'm sure you'll get answers for your questions. So please do remember, on the first day, it will start around 6:30 onwards. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. So that's very interesting to have a speaker who really wants to use his full time. And that too on 3 days, on the same. Really very nice. So thank you so much. So here with this we conclude this session for today. Next session is on the 4th, on the 3rd Saturday. That is 28th July, 2024, same time. So same credentials and everything. So we stop the formal session for now, and after that we will open the thing for question answers, so people can ask questions to Balaji. So let me just remove the spotlight from everybody. Yeah, so I think I saw some questions. So okay, let me just enable people to ask, unmute themselves so that. Yeah, okay. Now, audience can actually unmute yourselves also for asking questions. And I had to really, apologies for not mentioning that earlier. The amount of effort that is taken by Balaji for preparing the slides is itself really amazing, and with wonderful graphics to make the ideas clearer. Putting graphics is really beautiful. And I also told him when we discussed earlier that having seeing both the visual as well as the sound, it gives a far better experience for understanding as just listening to something. So really the graphics really has made it much richer in terms of trying to making it more understandable and beautiful. And thank you for all the efforts and the hard work that is put up for this.
Balaji always does that presentation every year, and the slides are sought after. So again, this time also I request Balaji to, if possible, to share the slides with us, and we can distribute to the registrants.
Yeah, I will definitely distribute to the next thing to all the registrants. Yeah.
Subject to Balaji's permission, because
sure. I mean, this knowledge is for everybody. Yeah, not my knowledge. Yeah.
Sir, and and also I think the slide presentation not only benefit the listeners, audience, in following through what he is talking about, and then also understand the message very clearly. It also helps the speaker to stay on course. He doesn't deviate. He is able to navigate through the talk as he intended without much deviation. So it's a win-win situation. Thanks a lot, Balaji.
Thank you.
One question from Sindhuji. Sindhuji is already here. Do you want to ask a question, or can I read out the question? You can unmute yourself and speak.
Please read out, KKG. You can go ahead.
Yeah, basically her question is about the word Shraddha. This question is a very, I also have the same question. Basically, the word Shraddha is interpreted by especially Shankaracharya and many of our masters as to mean something like, intense not kind of devotion, sort of faith. The word that is used is faith for Shraddha, which actually in many of the, at least in Malayalam and Kannada and several of the languages, we don't use the word Shraddha in that meaning. We usually mean the word Shraddha to mean attention and concentration and things like that, strong awareness. So that has been, so this is a question that Sindhuji has. The first question. I think maybe you can answer this. After that, we can go to the next question.
Okay.
What does the word Shraddha mean? So that is an idea.
There is no equivalent English word for Shraddha. That's the reality. Shraddha is actually definitely not concentration, but if you have Shraddha, then you will do things in a concentrated manner. That's the way you have to understand it. Shraddha is, you can say, a belief or a belief before understanding. A belief before understanding once. So the way I can give you an example, we say, have Shraddha in Shastras, have Shraddha in Guru. The reason is, what we are saying here is, you do not know whether what the Shastra says is right or wrong at the beginning, or you have doubts. Don't have that doubt. Have a faith in that. And until the time that it gets converted into your knowledge. Right now, it is Guru's knowledge. It is in the knowledge that is available in the Shastras. You have faith that, okay, this is true, or this or you don't question that. You question that in the sense, you don't question without any kind of proper inquiry. You inquire, you understand, then you convert that into your knowledge. So it is an attitude that one must have for things that are unknown, especially when you want to make it your own.
Okay, so the first question, since we don't have much time, we'll read out all the questions. Next question is about the yajnas. Now, like you said, there are 22 kinds of yajnas talked about in this chapter 4. But I think what Balaji was talked about the Pancha Maha yajnas. So, but those are actually not mentioned in the 22 list that is given by Bhagavad. But the thing is that there are many yajnas given. So Sindhu's question here is that what are the important yajnas out of all the yajnas which are there, and explain the idea of Bhuta yajna. So that's what our question.
So in the 4th chapter, Bhagavan is basically converting all actions into yajnas. So that is only a sample that the Bhagavan had given. It is not the full list of yajnas. Bhagavan gives a sample of those yajnas and says that this is how you can convert all your actions into yajnas. So we have to extrapolate that and then say whatever our actions, we can convert them into yajnas. With regards to the Panchamaha yajnas, these are considered mandatory yajnas by Shastras. This is part of Karma Yoga. And this is about doing our bit for everything. For the Vedas, for the Vedas, as in our Shastras, is Brahma Yajna. To the Ishwar, to the gods, celestial beings, is Deva Yajna. Then to the fellow human beings, that we have to do our duties and take care of them, is Manusha Yajna. Then Bhuta Yajna is the environment. Pitra Yajna is the parents and our ancestors. Bhuta Yajna is our environment. It includes plant kingdom, animal kingdom. And one of the ways that our Shastras ask us to do it, or make sure that we are able to do it, is by divinizing the entire creation. So our books, our Shastras books, all books are actually divinized. The ancestral worship is divinized. Matrudevo Bhava, Pitrudevo Bhava, parents are divinized. Then even everything around the creation, the rivers are divinized, the hills and mountains are divinized, the plants are divinized. So we have fig tree, we have this alamaram, we have this arasamaram, in Tamil we say, and then we have this Ganga Mata, Yamuna Mata, everything is divinized. And this is basically to ensure, one, it is of course, Ishvara is creation, but also to ensure that we get that bhakti around it, we get that Shraddha and bhakti, and we are able to do our part. We are taking care of it properly once we have something in a higher plane, we treat them properly, we give them respect, and that is one way to maintain this Jagat Chakra Hetu. Bhagavan says Jagat Chakra Hetu is actually Karma Yoga, to ensure that the universe is in harmony. We have to do this Bhuta Yajna. And what can be the Bhuta Yajna things today? Doing our bit for in those days, having this Rangoli Kolam using this rice flour in the morning for ants to eat. Then putting some, giving some leaves to cows, making sure that we worship Tulasi, we worship all the trees. All these are part of Bhuta Yajna. The plant, animal, and the environment, taking care of it is Bhuta Yajna.
Yeah,
I hope I answered.
Yeah. Only the most important yajna. There is a question, another question
The
that
most,
he had.
but the Panchamaha Yajnas, all the Yajnas are equally important. All the yajnas are equally important. For Panchamaha yajnas, there is no compromise on any yajna. All the yajnas have to be performed daily in one way or another. And
no, Balaji, actually, Bhagavan himself says at the end, Jnana Yajna is superior to everything else.
No, that is,
so I think,
I am talking with respect to Panchamaha yajnas, all are equal. But the Jnana Yajna is, Jnana Yogam is where what we are saying is, once only when we do this Panchamaha yajnas, a person attains mental purity, Chitta Shuddhi. Then he becomes qualified for Jnana Yoga. And therefore, for moksha, yes, Jnana Yoga is the ultimate last step for moksha. That is for sure. But all the yajnas, as in all the Panchamaha yajnas, are equally important, and they help us to get the mental purity, which allows us to be qualified for getting this jnana. I hope I understood.
Very good. The last question is shared was, can we surrender all our actions to our Guru instead of God?
As long as the Guru comes through a parampara and calls himself as one of the, and he has a parampara to go through, as in he's not a self-made Guru, it's fine. Because we also say Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara. So dedicating actions to Guru is okay, as long as the Guru also considers him as his Guru and the Ishvara. He's got the Astika Buddhi and he has come through a parampara. But dedicating actions to a Guru is also okay.
Yeah, but I think here again, in today's world, we have to be very careful about gurus.
That's what I mentioned. Yeah.
So we have to be. We have actually Mahanirvana Tantra and many of the tantras actually describe ways in which the gurus need to be examined and need to be questioned before you accept him as a guru at all. So that is very important in today's world. And once you accept a guru, and it is good to be having, and if you are 100% sure that this guru is truly an authentic guru. So basically, you must remove the ajnana from you. If he has the ability to do that, then you can offer to this my cake.
The Guru Lakshana given here by Shankaracharya is Shrotriya Brahmanishta.
Shrotriya and Brahmanishta, correct. Yeah, Shrotriya is now who knows the Shrutis, and the Brahmanishta is, of course, one is established in the Brahman.
Yeah.
And one of the question is can we have the video recording for repeated listening? The video recording it's live streamed in both Facebook as well as YouTube. So you can always go to this Gita Jayanti's Facebook page or the YouTube channel, and you can get these videos at any time in the future. So it's available right now.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Yeah,
so this is
the Guru also has to be Shishtachara. He has to follow what he says.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brahmanishta will automatically will qualify for that, I think.
Correct. Yeah. But this today's world, it's very important. And there is one more question. Is another person is asking, Youth Forum on Saturday morning, is it on live stream? It is not on live stream. Dushyant Sridharji does not want anything to be live streamed. He has allowed us to put it on YouTube after the event, but not live stream. But even the YouTube, even the youth presentation will be available on our YouTube channels after the event, but not live streamed. Okay, so now we can, if there are any other questions, because your these questions and answers are very important. So I think sticking to time is not so important. So we will. It is important that we clarify all the problems. I mean, all the questions. So, if any others have any other questions, otherwise, any urgent questions or doubts or comments or feedback.
Thank you very much. Excellently, really enlightened. We are all enlightened so much. So repeatedly we have to listen to it.
Yeah, really. We also agree. Okay, I think since
can I say one thing? Hello.
Yeah. Please.
Balaji, that was very beautifully presented and very beautifully illustrated, just like you do always. One small doubt for me was the last bit you said was that people who have doubts won't get moksha. So, like you said 3 categories, and you said that people, and isn't it that Arjuna was full of doubts and it was clarified by Krishna? And me, I'm always doubtful, so I'm very scared that I'll never get moksha. So, can you is it true that people have doubts won't get moksha? So it's a bit challenging in life.
So here Bhagavan, here the doubt has to be understood as the opposite of Shraddha. Okay. Bhagavan talked about Shraddha and then he said this doubt. The doubt here has to be understood as opposite of Shraddha, which means if a person has a valid doubt and he is willing to inquire with Shraddha, then it is okay. That's why we have got even sadhana called Mananam. A Mananam is a sadhana in for Jnana Yoga, you have Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana. Mananam is about removing all doubts. So a doubt is valid. There is no way that Bhagavan or our Shastra says that doubt should not be there. But here Bhagavan, when he talks about, he is talking about a doubt with lack of Shraddha, as in pulling down, as in completely disregarding or not willing to listen or sticking to your own position even when the knowledge is clear or made clear. If a person wants to stick to their position and do not want to accept what the Shastra says, initially, with regards to Shastras, there are 2 things. First of all, a lot of people we have this feeling that Shastras have to be explained through science. As in, why am I doing this? There has to be a scientific reason to it. This is possible only to a certain extent. This cannot be extended throughout the Shastras. It is not possible. What our Shastras say and what our Gurus say is Shastras are the 6th pramana. Just as we believe our eyes, what we see, we listen to something and we believe that. In the same way, Shastras have to be taken as a means of knowledge. Today, we go to we listen to a science lecture or we read a science book, some scientist saying something. We have not done any experiment on that, yet we want to believe it because it comes through what we call as valid sources. And here, Shastras have to be considered as valid sources. Shastras have to be considered to be valid sources. Shastras therefore become pramana, becomes means of knowledge. And believing that until it becomes my knowledge is Shraddha. Not considering that as a valid means of knowledge is what Bhagavan talks about as doubt. Lack of Shraddha is what Bhagavan talks here as samshayam. Okay. I hope I have made it clear. But doubts are necessary. If we want to make this knowledge into our own, valid doubts within the realms of Shastric boundaries, questioning and understanding and accepting and imbibing that, assimilating that is important.
Actually, I want to give one more thing here. Even verse 34. Verse 34 says, tadviddhi pranipadena pariprashnena sevaya. So basically, here says Bhagavan himself says, pariprashnena sevaya. You must ask questions. So it is not that you should not ask questions at all. That is not the idea. The idea is that you should not have doubt on the whole structure. The edifice of spirituality. I mean, if you have doubt on that, then it makes no sense at all. So that is the idea of doubt. At least that's what I think. right, Balaji?
Yes.
Yeah, basically asking questions is definitely not prevented, and not only not prevented, in fact, it is a
It is
sense of
encouraged.
our tradition is entirely based on question answers. All the Upanishads are based on question answers. Bhagavad Gita is based on question answers, and all tantras are based on question answers. So if it is not question answers, there is no Indian literature. So it is definitely not something which is
Yeah, but only thing, do
discouraged.
not try to validate Vedas through science or our
Yeah.
Shastras through science.
Yeah,
That will
but
never happen. That should never happen.
That's a different science. It's like proving mathematics through chemistry or chemistry through biology. It will be very difficult. Okay, so is there any other questions, sudden urgent questions? Otherwise, we can. Anybody? Final call. Okay, it's already 1:15. We are 15 minutes over time. We are very, very thankful to our guest of honor for today, Sri Sengutwanji, chairman of.
Thank you, Sengutwanji. Hari Om.
Yeah, I think he's still there. Sengutwanji, then our speaker for today, Balaji, and our wonderful chanters, who did a beautiful way of chanting the chapter 3 and 4, and also all the participants who participated in today's session. So thank you to everyone, and also thank you to our eternal greatness, gratitude to Lord Krishna for making all these things possible, and his words of the Bhagavad Gita. So thank you, everybody, and see you next time. Yes, Shri Krishna. Hari Om.